Welcome back to another Game Time Discussions. My name is Emery Cuzzy. I'm sitting here with Cameron Selby, and we're going to do another Underdog Best Ball draft today. We are loaded in as fast as possible, of course, because it's Underdog. We're sitting at the 7th spot, which is a spot that we've been waiting to draft on this show, on the channel. Done a lot of 4s, 6s, 2s, 12s, 11s, but not that 6, 7, 8, 9 range, or that 7, 8, 9 range. We might actually get a running back in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, we love Brees and Bijan, and we just don't really have enough of them. And it's just purely because they're always going 7th or 8th. Nobody's falling to the 9th pick or the 10th pick,
Right.
And then you got to reach on them above all these elite receivers at the beginning, which we've talked time and time again how hard it is to start early in the first round with a running back, and then just on the other turn, just be comfortable with your receiving room. So,
Right.
I'm assuming that's kind of going to be the route that we'll go, but we've also seen some weird stuff where people get overdrafted, and like Tyreek Hill fell to the 6th and Amon-Ra fell to the 8th earlier. So you just never know.
Yeah, and I think in this, Justin Jefferson is above Amon-Ra on this one. Okay,
so which is different for us. They're flipped, but basically everybody's top 5 receivers are all those guys, and it just depends on the order. If you prefer Jamar over Tyreek, or you don't love CD as much, or
right.
Justin Jefferson, a little concerned. But either way, those 5 are the consensus 5, and usually they're all going in the top 6. It's CMC in them. So
well, maybe we'll see what happens. I mean, you look at it, there goes another.
It's pretty typical draft so far.
Yeah, everybody in order basically. I think Justin Jefferson. Do you think this guy run?
Yeah, all right down the middle.
So I think running back obviously is the option. I have no Bijan, I don't think, because I haven't gotten a chance to draft him.
Let's do some Bijan.
So I'm 100% wanting to get some. Let's see, who is in the 18 range? Saquon is in the 18 range. You could do robust Devontae Adams, Chris Olave. I don't think any of those guys are going to fall to us. So
we'll see with what happens with Bijan. Obviously, he is an uber talented running back, top 10. He went right down the road at UT for us, so we've been fans. We both were given free Bijan jerseys a year ago for our November birthday celebration, which was fun, by the bar owner.
Yep.
Anyways, he was a little bit of a disappointment last year. He was basically going in this range, which I took a ton of him, but it ended up not working out just because for some reason Arthur Smith wanted to have less than 50% of the snaps go to Bijan. And it doesn't matter if he's not getting 50% of the touches, but when he's not even on the field half the time, it doesn't make any sense. And so obviously new regime, Raheem Morris has just come out and said, we're going to get this guy the ball as much as possible. That could be smoke. Obviously injuries are a thing as well. But I have no reason to doubt him.
Right.
So that, to me, Brees or Bijan, it's take your pick. They're both kind of risky situations. Both quarterbacks coming off Achilles injuries. Coincidentally, they're both Week 12 running backs as buys. But we like them both.
Yeah, and we're probably not going to see the Tyler Algier, touchdowns. Those will probably go
Patterson's
down.
gone. Jonnu Smith, tight end rounds are gone. He should be.
Wow. Okay. Devontae Smith at the 15.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least even though he's overdrafting, he's doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get Jalen Hurts. How ironic would it be is
we almost got Jonathan Taylor there.
Yeah.
So we're up. I'm not really drafting Brandon Ayuk very much. But Saquon, Devontae Adams, what are you thinking?
We could try to get a Houston double with Nico on the turnaround getting Diggs, and then
that's fine. Yeah, I'm with it.
Just trying to paint a picture. We have gotten some of Devontae, but it's just so hard. We're getting so much, Raiders that, it's not a confident or comfortable stack. Our most recent one, we went double rated back to back. Ended up not stacking him with Gardner, but it's just hard to, fathom the ownership we've had, which it's not even like, oh, we have a Raider fan on the podcast. Like, it's just, that's where the value is going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers talent-wise in the NFL.
Like, I can't justify Chris Olave going before him because he's in another situation where it's like I'm not comfortable with New Orleans offense.
Well, what about
And
Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith?
yeah,
So we're just gonna watch him fall.
Yeah, it looks like running backs are going to
There he
be
goes.
pushed down a little bit
Which is
on
fine.
this one.
So Kyron.
I bet you that the Tyreek team is kicking themselves because they were probably going to be targeting Jalen Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all these receivers go, and that's why a CMC team, whoever you're going to draft, is just not going to be somebody that you're comfortable with.
I mean, they could go robust RB and do the H-Han and Kyron Williams thing here and do something different because I think one is by far the hardest spot to draft. By far.
I mean, he could probably go Debo and then just hope for a Purdy stack later. I mean, I'm just trying to make ideas.
He went H-Han and then went
like
DK.
He doesn't know what he's doing. So
he's jammed.
Which we like DK more than Debo, but again, you're also have to paint a picture, and sometimes these guys are so close that the stack is more important than getting best player available every single pick.
Yeah,
and it feels like certain selections or routes that you take, you just kind of are always having to pick just whoever falls to you, and that's not what we love to do when we draft.
We'll be hoping and praying that Stephon is there.
Mm-hmm. And if not, we
Kyron,
can go with
Cooper Kupp, Sam
DJ Moore's
Laporta.
still there.
Yeah, there's some options. This is still really good football players up here. We're still in that range where everybody's good at football. So I always say, you pick talent. Talent's exciting. We have the hero RB, so then we don't have to worry nearly as much.
The second and third pick both went 3 receivers out the gate, so they'll be fighting for running backs later.
And so did
we'll see. There's a lot of opportunity for the other teams later in this round to do the same thing.
That's a reach past where
in a half PPR, I don't think tight end should be going this early. Fair. That doesn't just. I just don't think that there's as big of a gap between Sam Laporta and say Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Enough to say, there's 3 rounds different, or 2.5 rounds, wherever Mark Andrews is going.
I think that second tier of tight ends Malik Neighbors. I think that second tier of tight ends is plenty fine in the underdog setting.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephon did fall to us, which is
Sweet.
Cool. So we'll get him.
And again, we actually have Stephon a little higher than Nico.
Yeah.
That is not the common opinion, but at the same time, I don't know. It's not a confident ranking above both, but we know that Tank Dell shouldn't be going in the 4th, 5th round like he is, and I can promise you that we're not trying to triple stack. So we're gonna drop to these 2 quarterbacks, kind of go lower on Underdog. So I'm expecting CJ to go
in the 5th, I think.
I don't know if we can.
Well, he's 50.
I don't know that far.
His rank is 56,
and
we're 55. Okay. So, but no one else has Houston.
Okay, we can cross our fingers.
So
that's fine. But like I said, underdog quarterbacks are going a little later.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a few drafts where Mahomes is going in the 5th round, which is crazy to me. Again, we're not going to shoot any Superflex videos this summer, but Patrick Mahomes was my most exposed quarterback. It's because he's going 5th, and he's our 2nd-ranked quarterback overall. Yeah. Really easy to stack, and with Superflex, when tight ends were getting pushed way down because quarterbacks are in the first 3-4 rounds.
Yeah, I was going to say you need 2 quarterbacks before round 5.
Yeah, getting Mahomes and then Travis Kelce in the 5th was just it was fun. It was a great time off camera.
We might show you all that later on. We'll recap some of these things.
At the end of the summer, we'll show all of our exposures and stuff like that for every single type of draft and on both platforms, and we'll just kind of show what teams we're rooting for. But again, Tank Dell, no chance I'm interested in drafting him there.
I'll lose my mind.
Above Amari Cooper and George Pickens? No, sir. Wide receiver 1's on the team. I know Tank Dell.
I'm so nervous about this
rivaled with Nico, but throughout the year. But again, they don't bring in Stephon Diggs to just, he's going to be your wide receiver 3.
Please don't do it. Okay, that's fine. Trey McBride. We're okay with that. I didn't know where that man was going with that 37th pick.
Yeah, so like I said, quarterback's going way early. The first quarterback goes 4th
38th.
round,
Yeah.
and guess what? The team who ended up going Devontae
Hmm.
Smith and AJ Brown gets Jalen Hurts on the second turn. I probably would have opted to do that with the 3rd round pick just to secure it because you got two guys in between you that don't have
Right.
quarterbacks. But yeah, that's a
Well,
great start to your team.
we're about to try that. So
We'll see.
let's see. T. Higgins goes. George Pickens. We could go Travis Kelsey. He's fallen actually a little bit. Travis Etienne. What are you thinking? Amari Cooper.
Huh. Let's go with that's tough. I didn't expect Kelsey to be here.
12
Um,
seconds.
I would say let's go with man. No, I'll let you do it.
All right. I want
Whoever you
Kelsey.
want.
I think Kelsey. I think
Okay.
let's do it. I mean, we
That's
don't
fine.
expect him here. He's going to make our team different.
And on top of that, usually 5th round is where I'm targeting tight end, and actually we're targeting a specific quarterback into the 5th round. So,
Yeah.
and if he doesn't fall, then there's hope that we can get another. We have
Patrick
two
Mahomes just
options.
left.
Okay.
I knew what you're going to go for, but
Either way. So that's actually a little earlier than what we've
that's
seen.
much higher because Patrick Mahomes is ranked 55th. He's
Which to me, way too low. But
This
just
is yeah.
again, we're always 3 straight Chiefs.
That's what I was going to say. It's crazy. So yeah,
Hollywood Brown right here, making four in a row.
that's possible.
It should not be possible, but
Wait to see, like 58 probably.
yeah, he's kind of separated himself from Xavier Worthy.
He's
Again,
53, so it's really not. I mean, it's a reach, but
mhm.
don't get me wrong.
Again, Xavier Worthy is a guy that he's riding the range of the Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas and these guys that are just you don't know,
George Pickens.
and they're really going much earlier than probably they've ever gone before. So again, we've never seen the two earliest ADPs for receivers in the last like 13 years is both in this draft. Marvin Harrison's going at the early second, and then late second, early third is Malik Neighbors. Those are the earliest you've ever seen wide receivers go. And then the next tier of guys are earlier than where guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase were going a couple years ago.
Yeah, you got Rome,
and they don't have the track record or
well,
ability or upside as those guys did.
Well, the one that really is above where I expected him to be is just because of the situation in Buffalo is Keon Coleman. Because we view him as someone that, of course, is good at football in a really deep class, but he doesn't have necessarily separation skills and things like that to be a number one right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so him being so high, I don't know who the number one receiver is going to be in Buffalo. And he has a big ADP separation between Curtis Samuel, Shakur.
And with
Chase Claypool
and Curtis Samuel are the same receiver, and I don't know how to differentiate.
Curtis Samuel is better.
He is, but a lot of people have Shakir above him, and it's just
going to be different.
But also, we've talked about Chase Claypool as the last round pick.
Mm-hmm.
There goes Hollywood off the board. But again, this is kind of a sweet spot of range for really quality tight ends.
Travis
Mark
Etienne
Andrews
was still on the board. Oh my gosh!
I know. I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay, Keenan Allen. Okay, he went higher than he does on DraftKings, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep that separation between him and DJ Moore is just,
right.
something. So it looks like this guy here that's on the clock. Yeah, I think I don't expect perfect. I didn't even get to finish my sentence.
That worked out. So yeah. So which the guy before us goes
Josh
with the Kansas
Jacobs
City
is still on the board.
I'm saying, bro,
it's crazy.
Yeah, Underdog is just way different than running backs, but ironically, running backs are more essential on an Underdog
platform.
Yeah,
that's why going robust on Underdog, guys, might be the move this year because everybody is reaching on receiver because everybody is chasing what has worked the last 2 years,
or even hero running back because we could get Josh Jacobs or James Cook to fall to us in the 6th round, or even wait to the 7th round for somebody like Kamara and be more than happy with those two.
So I saw some really cool stats watching, some of the guys that we follow, and this last year, the last 2 years, zero RB has been the main way to draft, which is why everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, the year before that, it was 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds is what worked.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, Why does it have to work the same way every year? It doesn't. It's not going to. That's the cool part about this. Like it's like it's gambling. You know,
Mhm.
it's betting. We're betting on, right now, hero RB and zero RB are the main things people are like rushing to.
But it's like with the underdog,
You-
like if we ever do, because we're going to be doing a lot of both underdog and DraftKings, because they're both fun. They're very different strategies right now. Like robust or like two early ones is a lot easier to just build a great roster on underdog than it is on DraftKings. So with DraftKings, I feel like most of the quality, Josh Jacobs, ETN is probably the sweet spot of like, you know, hero or
Mhm.
not hero, but just doubling down early. And they're both going late fourth or late third, fourth round.
Right.
And in these drafts, like you saw ETN fall to the fifth, Jacobs end of fifth, but we've seen a lot of sixth round with him as well.
Well, and then you got Isaiah Pacheco, who's going actually before Josh Jacobs.
Mhm.
James Cook, who's I've seen go before him. He's not ADP wise before him, but I've seen him go before him. There's just some guys, and we have James Cook actually higher. Um, it's James Cook and maybe Ray Davis, and that's it there. So I think Ty Johnson's there, like way back behind him, but
Yeah,
like it's just two
it's
guys
rough.
basically. So
But also, like Buffalo has been a team where Josh Allen can, on multiple occasions, and it's not a weird thing to lead the team in carries for the week. So even though we like James Cook, it's not consistent volume compared to Josh Jacobs, who should get 20 touches every single week,
right,
no matter the thing. And then also having the easier strength of schedule for the position.
I'm loving our team. It's
It's a
beautiful.
fun team.
It's
And I
beautiful.
know you're not comfortable with like the Nikos of the world going mid second round based on the way it fell to us.
Well,
It was
yeah,
just
but
awesome.
how it worked out, and then also, we're about to come up, and there's some, in this range, you start getting like the running backs that we start to like. Um, I like Rashad White. Joe Mixon is a little scary to me, but
I don't
whatever.
want to triple with
Um,
Joe. If
no,
if I'm gonna
he went.
triple, I
Don't
want
worry.
it's okay. Don't even gotta talk to me. Uh I would love,
Dalton Schultz.
yeah, as a second tight end if we're gonna triple. Kyle Pitts, I like a lot.
Hmm.
Third time's the charm.
But we already have Kelsey, so we don't have to.
That's true.
And
You're
so
right.
right here we
Sorry.
get Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Let's go Kenneth Walker. I haven't got enough of Kenneth, and
Okay.
It's really fun. Rashad White again is a PPR back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker doesn't get a ton of receptions, but he just for some reason every other week breaks a 75-yard touchdown.
Just they run a great scheme, I guess.
Hmm.
Well, they have a new scheme,
And
so
then Zach Charbonnet, when Kenneth Walker went down for a couple weeks last year, he did not play well at all. So I don't think that it's changing to where it could even become close to a 1-2 punch.
I think Charbonnet when he came in, it wasn't even like his backfield, and that's a
Yeah,
little
DJ
work.
Dallas had some
DJ
work.
Dallas, yeah,
Travis
exactly.
Homer
Like,
had some touches, but yeah, it was really like we I remember we went to a Spurs game together and we were sweating like a six for six because Dallas and Seattle was
oh,
playing
that's right.
that
Yeah.
same night, and Charbonnet needed like 15 receiving yards. He had 5 receptions and didn't get there. And we didn't hit our big one, but that game was like a 41-38 game. And other than, I think Charbonnet broke a 40-yard run late,
Right.
but other than that, he was extremely inefficient. And then Ken Walker came right back and just did what he always does. His is just kind of sometimes frustratingly not getting enough touches that
Right.
he deserves.
So like when last year when Charbonnet was a rookie, I didn't actually like him coming out. He just went to an opportunity where it was like, okay, maybe you should take some shots on him. There's
Mhm.
some guys that were actually getting to like that. You know, the Blake Corums of the world, who's a true handcuff. Like it's really scary because of course when he goes in, he'll get probably 20 touches. But if Kyron Williams doesn't get injured,
If Kyron Williams is healthy, Blake
yeah,
Corum is irrelevant in
yeah,
that offense.
because they're gonna
And
feed
the thing
Kyron.
is, nobody feels the same way about that, which is just crazy to me. Like we are on an island
Well,
by pointing out how inefficient he was overall in his
yeah,
college career.
after his injury going into his last year, he was just nothing. basically. And neither was Donovan Edwards. And they won a national championship with two guys that were inefficient. I get it. I mean, I know why people are talking about it, but still, it's like, come on, guys. Like, you can't. You have to kind of take that stuff and think about it, because good production in college normally is the best way to be good in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Like Donovan Edwards, and also just kind of showing how strong the next year's draft class is from the running back position. Like Donovan Edwards on the college football return video game, and he was the guy getting breakaway touchdown runs in the national championship game. He's not even in the top 8.
No way.
And it's not even a stretch to say that, even though he's gonna have a ton of production this year.
Okay, so we're up
at least.
We're up here. Bijan and Kenneth, I think receivers probably where we go.
Yeah, we probably have to double.
I'm big with JSN here.
Yeah, JSN is perfectly fine.
I actually really like Christian Watson, but at the same time, JSN is just going to have a higher floor.
It is interesting that the pick right after us is going the same exact strategy as well.
Let's go look at their team.
Yeah, go check out their team after.
There we go. So they have George Kittle, Calvin Ridley, Zay Flowers. Oh my gosh. JT, Brees Hall, and Lamar. Okay, so they went 2 running backs early.
Okay.
So they're going to go receiver more often. I like
both of those running backs. But their receivers just
not as strong.
I hate it.
George Kittle, we're not as high. We talk about that on this channel because George Kittle is just going to have such a hard time.
His great games are the epitome of what he did against Dallas last year, where he had 3 catches for 100 yards,
a breakaway,
and 3 touchdowns.
Touchdown, yeah.
And that's great, but it's just not something I can rely on, even though, that can be more helpful in a best ball environment. But a lot of people, where the range that Kittle's going, they're like, he's our tight end. We don't have to touch it for like 6 rounds. And to me,
yeah, he went 65th before both Kyle Pitts and Evan Ingram. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know, man.
No.
Because Evan Ingram was the number 2
overall
tight end last year. And then Kyle Pitts is finally in a offense that's going to hopefully help him out. And it's like Kittle's
got age. He's got injury issues. He's got volume.
He could be the 5th, 6th, 7th option. And that's just something.
And we're saying that as George Kittle lovers. We think he is the best tight end in football right now.
Yes.
From a talent perspective. But fantasy is a different game, and you have to be able to separate the two.
I love talent. I told y'all that earlier, but sometimes there's too much talent on one team, and it's just too hard to get the ball to everybody. So, you can take shots on guys much later that are going to get more targets. Much later.
Wow, Curtis Samuel went early in this draft.
Did he have a quarterback? No, he had Kyler. Okay, well, we'll see what that means. Who did he? Okay, he did the Trey McBride stack with Kyler. So Curtis Samuel went really early. So did Cortland Sutton there.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Is there a problem with the receivers? Let's go look. Is there a lack of receivers? Okay. I mean, there's a few receivers I'd rather have. But
yeah, it's getting kind of tough. But again, this is a range where we might need to, just from a value perspective, take our 3rd running back or a 2nd tight end.
Right. And
it's probably early for our 2nd quarterback.
We have to watch week 14 buys for our wide receivers.
Week 14 buys.
Week 14 with the stack.
We went with Cooper, correct? Amari Cooper?
No. We went with JSN. We have both Nico and Stefan.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, our last draft.
We went with Travis Kelce.
Yep. Okay, so we're good on tight end for a while. We're good on quarterback for a while.
Our running back room is solid, but there's a lot of running backs right here.
The range where just all of them are going to come at the same time. So maybe taking, one of these guys who are all viable to be, a middle tier RB2.
Right. And falling.
Mm-hmm. Haven't taken a ton of Ramondre. Obviously, New England has the lowest win total. Going to be one of the worst teams, but they actually have the easiest strength of schedule for running backs, which is interesting. They don't have...
Based on, was that PFF or was that...
PFF.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw...
some discrepancy.
We saw, and we're going to have to dive in more to just kind of see what is the true favorite. But, we showed some videos of strength of schedule for like our the biggest winners and losers from the schedule release, and we were going strength of schedule based on when we refer to it from Fantasy Pros because they have a 5-star system and stuff. And PFF comes out with theirs, and Green
Green.
Bay is in the top 5 of easiest schedules. And Green Bay in Fantasy Pros had the hardest strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, something's wrong. You shouldn't have top 5 and then the worst as one. Same thing with Amari Cooper and Cleveland receivers was
Right.
like one of the bottom 10 versus number 1.
Right.
And so kind of we compared a bunch and looks like PFF is a little closer to the correct thing, but we want to dive into why
So
they brought it up.
PFF I think used last year's stats a lot more. And so one thing that we do here and what I do is I have a sheet. Then I take all the efficiencies from DraftKings and all the fantasy efficiencies, and I put them into one sheet, and I add them all together so that we can see who has the best schedule based on last year's stats. And Green Bay was ranked 31st when it came to running backs. So that fit with what PFF said. But you also have to take into effect that things change. You know, new players, new teams, new things.
Yeah,
It's a new
any
year.
ranking thing, it's not always end all be all. You can't always just do project when you're drafting a team. If you are only looking at who's the highest projected, you're not going to win things
Right.
because rookies will always be lower, or handcuffs will always be lower, or quarterback situations that you're taking a stand on. It's not going to make sense.
Yeah, you need to win week 14, 15, 16, 17. Those are the weeks you need to
Exactly,
find
and
a way to win.
that's what people don't really dive into enough is those
And
late season matchups because it's either we make the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're 4th or 12th. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it.
right.
So take those swings to be like the Jamar Chases of the world. The year that I was one of the top 100, I had a ton of Jamar, but I didn't have him in that specific team.
Right.
That was the week that he went for 55 points as a rookie, and he won it all.
Millions.
So imagine if I went with my wide receiver 4 having Devontae, Cooper Kupp, like that would have
Debo and then Jamar.
we would have a much bigger studio. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, you just have to take stands on guys that you think will win at the end of the year. And in that, so that ranking and that the 2024 schedules where the efficiency from the last year, I have where it's just 15 through 17 because those are the most important weeks and we have to win those weeks. Brock Bowers goes, dang it.
That's fine. We
But
probably needed to go receiver anyway.
Njoku's on the board. I don't really think there's a receiver that I'm like jumping off for.
We're gonna have to pound it
What do you think?
as we go.
We can go Njoku or we can go receiver.
I don't think.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I really think we need to go receiver here. As much as I love Njoku, I don't
Palmer,
think he's as
Shaheed?
necessary with this Kelsey build.
Shaheed.
Shaheed, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Not Shakur.
And then possibly be able to get Josh Palmer on the next turnaround.
Yeah.
Should be cool.
So it looks like, looking here, a lot of running backs still on this board. Brian Robinson.
Zeke is still way down there. And since we're kind of right in the middle of the draft, we're getting somebody every 10 picks. So we could probably wait 2 rounds and get a Zeke or a Jerome Ford.
Mm-hmm. So Brian Robinson's a lot higher in Underdog versus DraftKings. I think that has to do with the fact that, receptions matter, of course, but they don't matter as much. Mm-hmm. And so Austin Eckler's probably the receiving back, and you're only going to get half a point for him, and you're not going to get the bonuses if he goes over 100 yards receiving. So,
right.
Let's go back to our team. All right.
Yeah, Brian Robinson.
Missed out on Tyler Lockett.
He is really interesting with how different he is between redraft and best ball drafts. Like, to me, he's a great redraft play.
Mm-hmm.
But his ADP is 77 or 82 in terms of ESPN or Yahoo.
Right.
But in best ball, 119, 111. 40-point difference. And we're kind of smack dab right in the middle in our overall rankings. And we've gotten a lot of him so far. The only problem is we like so many running backs in week 14 that, we got to kind of build depth once we have done that, because we've had a situation where, 2 of our first 3 running backs are week 14 buys. And then if we went him this time, well, we got Ramondre, and we also got the double stack of Houston, who's in week 14. So it's
Yeah.
hard to,
But
build
we
the team like that.
but we love him.
Yeah, we
we
love
love
him.
him at his ADP for sure. I mean, you can't beat that. Especially I know there's Austin Eckler lovers and they think he'll be back in form, but it's not like he's going to be the workhorse. He had the rushing upside in for the Chargers. Here, there's not really much. He might get, I don't know, eight rushing touches.
I can't get over the fact, like the picture in my mind of going that end around against Green Bay and getting caught from behind like 20 yards before the end zone, and he didn't even top like 15 mile an hour of speed. It's like that's not somebody that I want on my team because he doesn't have that breakaway upside.
I think Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Josh Palmer is the easy click here. Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of really go heavy with our flex style receivers.
What would be week 5 by? I don't even think we have one of those. Perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's not a ton of, other than the Chargers, there's not a ton of week 5 buys that we're really targeting. I think there's only 2 teams in week 5. Oh, there's 4. So Detroit, which we've had some Detroit. Philly, we haven't really actually gotten enough of. I remember doing one Philly stack, but that's like our only AJ Brown line.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith, we have some of. Tennessee, we basically haven't been touching at all.
Yeah, Devontae Smith moved up a little bit on DraftKings, so we haven't gotten as much of him because he was in like the mid 30s, I think, and then he's like now
it's like
29.
late 20s. We saw. Was this the draft that he went second round?
Let's see. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he went second round with AJ Brown
and this 10 spot here. Yeah. JJ Swat.
So.
All right, and Jacoby Meyer goes. Tyjae Spears.
This I think is a great range for our another running back, or if we wanted to go
tight end. Yeah.
I think we could still wait on quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. I think, with
there's several still there. Brock Purdy's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously we're not really targeting, but him and Tua still have to go.
Justin Herbert, because we have Josh Palmer. You could get the Quentin Johnston in a minute.
that was the name I was going to bring up. If we need to go that route, I don't know if that's my plan A here. How many running backs do we have? 3.
We have 3. Yeah.
So,
but we do have some pretty solid ones actually. So
but I mean, we've been getting a ton of Zeke in this range just because it doesn't make sense that a team that's going to score 30 a game and that goal line back.
Yeah,
is going to
get some of them
at the end of
10
the 12th
touchdown
round.
Upside, 12 touchdown upside if he gets the ball, on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not giving it to Rico Dowdle. I don't think. He's probably the 20 to 20 guy.
Zeke gets a poor man's Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah,
based on like what to expect with volume. He's not going to be on many passing downs. If he's going to pay off as a fantasy player, it's going to be because of his touchdown upside, not because of his 150 yards a game or 100 reception or 100 target as a running back. So
Dalton Schultz goes. That's kind of the guy that I was looking at, but they would have made the triple stack, and then it would have been a little crazy. Right. It would have gotten a little crazy there, but let's go check out the board. Dang it, Chase Brown goes right before. As a guy I was kind of thinking. We did go Zeke in the last draft. He's a week 7 buy. I think we already have a week 10. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's a week 10.
I'm fine with Zeke. That would be our 4th different buy.
Yeah.
And then that would allow us to have 4 starting running backs, and we could probably stay with 5 or 6.
Yeah, I don't think we need more after that. Maybe one later round
get
1.
A handcuff with, actually, I don't really know if we have the running back room for handcuffs.
Let's see. Tyler Algier.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, but he's going in we got to get him in like the next 2 rounds.
60, I think is what he is, or something like that. I don't know exactly. Let's go check.
I mean, he was going
155.
He was going before Kamani Vidal, and it's like at this point we talked about him in the last draft that I'd rather have him, even though stacking is welcome, and the backups are more important to you than they are to other people. But also, this guy could start week 1.
Right. He could be the
going in the
workhorse for them. Yeah, I completely agree. We can't talk enough about Kamani Vidal. So, he has climbed our board.
He's going to be one of our highest owned players unless he just jumps up to the top 100, which is justified.
With
But we won't. At that point, we'll be like, we got our share.
yeah, with Gus Edwards and both him and JK both being injured, and they've been injured every year basically. I don't see why he doesn't end up in the 140s. Him and Marshawn Lloyd.
I mean,
Marshawn Lloyd,
you think
Kendrick
about it.
Miller.
Gus Edwards, when we started this, was like 103, and it's insane to think about. But we actually drafted like one or two teams with him just because it's like by default. But that was when we were able to stack him with Kamani.
Yeah.
When he was going in like the 17th round. Now you'll never see that again.
Well, look at that. That's the way to do it right there. Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb. You just have to, the Nick Chubb injury is just sad. It's just sad, man. I love Nick Chubb.
I think Cleveland's always been, since Stefanski came over, he's always been one to where multiple running backs can succeed. Like Kareem Hunt the last couple of years has just vultured touchdowns from Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
Or even last year when Jerome Ford came in and he was a top 20 running back overall in fantasy, and Kareem Hunt still had like 7 touchdowns as just, a vulture. So if Chubb is healthy at some point, that doesn't mean that both can't succeed in this offense.
So Justin Herbert goes, which is sad, but whatever. We're getting close to our pick.
Probably have to start looking at our tight end too soon.
Yeah.
Is Cole Kmet still?
Yeah, he's 146.
Okay.
And we will be, where are we? 151.
But Luke Musgrave would be falling too, and I'm fine with, that's like the last range of like, I'm fine with 2 tight ends if you got an elite first one.
So we're up here. Rico Dowdle could be the stack. Xavier Legette is probably the guy we'll probably end up doing just because we like getting to him. And we could probably use more receivers. What do you think?
Yeah, I think receivers still has to be what we go because there was such a run in the typical, dead zone running back. They still pushed them down further.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as strong, but again, we're completely fine with it. And then all of a sudden we'll have 6.
We might have a draft where we go. Well, like our last draft we did C.J. Stroud, Kirk Cousins. Well, that might be what happens here again.
Back to back.
We shall see.
But this time we actually get a double with
CJ. Yeah,
CJ, so.
For sure. Which is something that I have not done because it's just so hard to get. It's so hard. It's just, you have to reach on one of them.
Very often get Nico in the second, the third, Stephon Diggs, and then in the fourth,
5th,
or in the 5th, CJ Stroud.
We got 5th. Yeah.
Yeah, normally when people are double stacking, it's going Tank Dell in one of those two, and then CJ in the 4th or 5th.
But Tank Dell is so high. I think he went at like 38.
He went the 4th round.
That's crazy. He went he went 36th. Yeah. He went the 3rd round.
3rd round.
That's
for
crazy.
The 3rd best receiver on the team.
We like him. I loved him when he came out. We had a whole thing last year where we were going back and forth, John Mechie, or if we wanted to go Tank Dell. But at the same time, that was at 180, 200. And I just can't do it this high.
No, sir. Especially, yeah, he's one of our biggest negative differentials in terms of versus consensus for the receiver position. Let me pull that up real quick.
Here you go, guys. Let's try this. Switch it up. Mid-draft.
Yeah, we have Tank Dell 11 spots lower in terms of wide receiver rank than everybody else. Everybody else, he's a top 30 receiver, and he's 37 for us. And he was actually lower. And there's probably some guys behind him that I might prefer based on stacks and stuff. But, we could be very wrong.
Oh, man, that sucks right there. Luke Musgrave and Cole Kmet. So we're going to have to look at tight end now.
Yeah.
Which is okay because we do have, tight ends. But we have Travis Kelce. So
the thing is, we can go. I think we've done this before where we go Hawkinson as the backup and then we get a 3rd tight end that week 6. Let's just hope you get a touchdown.
Yeah.
That could be a route we go. TJ is kind of continuously falling, which we were on early on the idea of just he's going to be on the pup and
He
he won't
probably
be
won't
ready.
play till after the bye.
But again, it's fine, especially if you've got Travis Kelsey. And so on non-Kelsey days, you have the other guy that was points per game wise was tight end 1 or 2 the last since coming to Minnesota.
Yeah, he went. We're up. I thought Kirk Cousins would probably be the pick here, just so we can get our second
Yeah.
quarterback. We don't have a tight end, but hey, you're gonna
Yeah,
have to. We'll just have
we
to
might have to double
scrounge.
up on the backups.
That's fine. No big deal. And
That's fine.
then yeah, tight ends are being pushed up in this draft, which happens. I mean, it's a position where you only get to play one, maybe two. So it's one of those positions that's important. But Underdog kind of throw anybody out there, I feel like, half the time, and it's going to be okay just because of the fact that, in Underdog scoring, tight ends aren't very important. So,
Yeah, it's really not. And again, like we have 11 names where, if you come away with 2 of those, you're perfect. But if you have one of the top 4, whether it be Laporta, Kelsey, Kincaid, Andrews, some people throw Trey McBride in that group as well. Like you can punt at the very end and get a Luke Musgrave, Kate Otten,
yeah,
not on Underdog, but Taysom Hill on DraftKings.
right.
And then Cole Kmet, Dalton Schultz. Their tight end is deeper than it's ever been, which, I talked early in the offseason how fun and excited I was to be talking about the position just because it's just like George Kittle is our favorite tight end in terms of talent. And we're uncomfortable putting him at tight end 9, and nobody's even close to that. He's our biggest negative differential for tight ends. So,
That's almost, it feels too high.
yeah.
Like it feels too high. Because
It's like Jake Ferguson
Njoku.
could be yeah, David Njoku. Finally, his problem was always the red zone and not getting touchdowns. But Deshaun's always been a guy to when he's on the field.
Target his,
Yeah.
his tight ends in the red zone.
So yeah, both of those guys, like I'm not shocked at all if both of them are in front of George Kittle at the end of the season in terms of overall production or targets at least.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, George Kittle has higher boom, but also Jake Ferguson went for 37 fantasy points in the playoffs last year. So David Njoku had multiple games last year where he, had.
Yeah, he was
Let me pull up
pretty.
his game log.
He was actually one of the top. I think he went top 5 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, okay. I see what we're getting at right here. So we're up in a few picks. It looks like So our wide receiver 2 went in Rondell Moore.
I know exactly who I want.
I do too.
Yeah.
So, and then making it work in the back end back here with the tight end, whatever. Bucky Irving.
Yeah. So David Njoku had a 5-week stretch to end the season last year.
Damn it.
With 27, 29, 16, 21, and 16 fantasy points. And he's our tight end 11.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at George Kittle and how he finished. He had 5.9, 18.1, 4.7, and 2.4. And he missed some games.
Yeah.
So, or actually those were bye weeks, but still, like
So
that's the kind of difference with those two guys.
we're up. The guy you wanted is long gone, but that's okay. We're probably going to have to go with tight end here. Would you rather go? Wait, let's just look. Who do we got? Kate Otten, of course, is one of the ones that we have higher than these two, but what do you think?
I would probably say Cade. He's the highest remaining ranked guy. Benson is right behind him. Hunter Henry's not too far behind them.
Yeah. Isaiah Likely's
touchdown
down there.
dependent type of guys that are just going to be cheap plays all year.
Yeah.
So we'll probably get 2 of those.
Cheap guys.
Just call it a day.
Well, I actually like Travis Kelce, Kate Otten. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We can work with it. Quarterbacks, got 2 of them. One guy we're going to have to target is Rondell Moore later on. He's basically an 18th round guy, though. Yeah, how many picks do we have left? We have 5 picks left? Oh, that's still a lot. Never mind. Did not know where we were.
We got
4 picks left?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was going to say we're just in the 15th. So
yeah. Okay. Khalil Herbert goes. Talked about him. Wouldn't be surprised if that guy goes with Roshan on the way back. I mean, there was a run on running backs and stuff. So I mean, 6 in a row right here. That must have been some zero RB guys. Quarterbacks are going. Luckily, we got Kirk before they went crazy. Troy Franklin. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do in this range? Receiver, Malachi Corley. Let's look. We don't need quarterback. We probably won't go tight end for a little while. So at the wide receiver position, kind of what we're looking at.
I know you've brought up Malachi Corley before as a good talent. It's hard to trust the Jets right now. There's just much weird.
He's just the gadget guy that I could see getting these like weird end arounds and fly sweeps and stuff. I think he gets more touches than his targets show. So
Wan'Dale's another guy. I brought up a Daniel Jones stack in a previous video. Forgot to mention him, but
I like Wandale.
Fine.
Yeah, he's gonna be the number 2, I think.
I don't know, actually, because are you confident in just saying that he's above Jalen Hyatt?
At the moment, I think he will.
To justify
target
being
wise,
4 or 5 rounds different?
No, absolutely not. But target wise, he's always had the targets compared. But at the same time, he should not be 4 rounds above Darius Slayton or Jalen Hyatt to me. They're both, options. He went, let's see, Marvin Mims, I'm actually more confident that Troy Franklin plays better than Marvin Mims personally.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you have a stand on him, Demario Douglas,
one of the least targeted receiving rooms that we have, probably the most, is New England's.
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten any. I'm not okay with Jalen Polk.
I guess
where he's going.
Right.
But Demario Douglas had a really solid rookie year.
Javon Baker
shouldn't be going here.
No. But I'm just saying, some names from that offense. I'm gonna go Malachi
Obviously,
Corley.
they signed KJ Osborne as well. It's just a bunch of meh.
Yeah.
But Demario Douglas, in terms of where he's going, I'd much rather have him than Javon Baker. I don't know why they're even that close.
He's 178 and Javon is 187. Yeah, that's 9 picks. That's crazy. But Javon Baker's not going until 205 on DraftKings, so that makes a little bit more sense. I'm not sure though where Demario Davis is going. I think he's in the same range. Or Douglas, yeah. Why do I keep saying that? Who's Demario Davis?
He's a linebacker.
That's right. That's why. Getting the Saints linebacker mix.
I know Luke McCaffrey's another guy that, pick 100 of the draft. He's a rookie. He's gotten a lot of rapport with Jaden Daniels so far, and Jahan Dotson's been a bust, and really it's Terry McLaurin and nothing else. Right. So if Terry were to go down, I have no idea who steps up, but somebody has to. I mean, somebody better, because there's so many people that have Jaden Daniels as a QB1-esque player.
Right.
Not even close to agreeing with that. He's right in the middle of our QB2 range in tier. But again, we're trying to talk about who to stack, and he's a name that he's probably the last guy of this group of rookie receivers that is going. He just went off the board there, but he's right behind Corley and all these guys, which I guess it's a little more spread out on Underdog. Really, it's just one after the other on DraftKings.
Yeah, you got Jermaine Burton, Troy Franklin, Roman Wilson, the whole group, Jalen Polk, Ricky Pearsall. So, yeah, you don't have that on here as much, but Luke McCaffrey is the last one on both sides. He should be the starting slot, though. I don't see why he wouldn't start at slot. Curtis Samuel's gone. They don't really have anybody else, so he's the walk-in replacement for them. And if he's as good as his brother, no, just kidding.
Imagine.
Yeah. He will, though.
It's a Watt family thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because TJ went at the end of the first, and he was...
I wanted him. We got Taco instead.
It's our turn. So
okay. No tangents is what you're saying.
Right. Braylon Allen is probably the guy that I would go with here.
Okay.
But Here, I'll put him on the thing.
Yeah, I would say Braylon is probably the best. We need a fifth running back.
Roshan.
Him or Roshan.
I
I think Roshan's more likely to, if the backfield stays as is, get more touches. But who has more upside if they are the starting back?
Braylon.
Yeah,
Braylon right now. Off the rip. He's what, 225, 230?
mm-hmm.
Is he bigger than that right now? I don't even know. He's huge.
He's a monster, man.
All right, let's go back over to the board. Too bad, honestly, at the end of the day, if we would have gone Brees in the first round, getting Braylon is,
that would have been cool. But again, like we said, in terms of strength of schedule, obviously we didn't really target them in this draft specifically. It sounds uncomfortable, but Cleveland and Carolina have the two easiest strength of schedule for receivers, and that's why we've gotten a lot of Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper. I've started to get a little bit more shares of. Jerry Jeudy has been very annoying, but like Elijah Moore last year when he came over, he was going in the 7th round. This year, it's the same exact situation with a bust of a player that goes to Cleveland, but Jerry Jeudy's going in like the 11th, 12th round.
Right.
A lot more easier to stomach. Just kind of examples of just zigging where everybody zags because not everybody feels comfortable with those players and
right.
teams.
It's recency bias, and that's why we talked about this before. Everybody wants to do zero RB. Everybody wants to do hero RB, but that's not necessarily the way this year is going to work. And if you force it and you reach on everybody, it won't work out the same as you were hoping. Really. We're trying not to do
a little bit of news I wanted to break. Obviously, this isn't a live stream, so it doesn't really matter, but it's news to us. T. Higgins is signing his franchise tag today.
Wow.
So that basically signals that he is not going to hold out and he will be there for training camp, because if he's, tagged but he doesn't sign it, he won't get fined at all if he doesn't show up for a single training camp day. But now that he signs it, it doesn't make sense to hold out. So he could still be traded, but I think that kind of signals now he's a Bengal. And those kind of double stacks that we've gotten with Chase and Higgins,
they make a lot more sense.
Feels a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because, that might even, funny enough, that might make Higgins' price on these drafts go up. Because now we know that his quarterback is, Joe Burrow. It's not, he's getting traded to some team. He could have gone to the Bills and he could have gone up, but also could have gone somewhere.
I brought up Jacksonville before they went with Brian Thomas.
Right. He also could have gone somewhere, though, and his stock could have gone down. So,
yeah, right now we have him as a wide receiver 29, which is slightly lower than consensus by about 2. But you can make cases for him over Neighbors or Pickens or Cooper. Or Keenan Allen is lower than him on everything, basically. So he's right in that range. And last year he was going at the end of the second.
Yeah. So we're up. This is pick 17. We could go third tight end. We could go a different route. Devontae Walker.
No, I would probably go with another running back and tight end for our last picks.
I think Chig would be the guy that I would go with.
Chig is the guy I was thinking as well. It just depends on if you thought he would fall. If not, then we can.
No, I think we should get him.
That's fine.
He's the last. This is the last range here. So, Juwan Johnson is falling obviously because of the injury. The guy that we could go with. Hold on, let me make sure. Who do we have? Kenneth Walker, Ramondre, Zeke. Okay. Well, Tank Bigsby, Alexander Madison, Andrick Estime. We can paint the picture for all those guys for sure. CH, if we like that.
No stackability with any of those guys, but it's just you're praying for 2 weeks of just RB2 caliber play.
Right.
And again, zig when everybody's zagging. Everybody wants to put Jaleel McLaughlin as a top 14 round pick.
He went 14.1.
Yeah. First pick in the 14th round. Y'all can go ahead with that. And we'll go with Audric. And if we're wrong, guess what? That was our last pick in the draft.
Right.
But we're gonna believe in our rankings and how he was close to being our RB1 overall in this class. And he went to a situation that's relatively wide open.
Well, the thing is too, are you comfortable? The thing Jaleel McLaughlin in the 14th round could be a bust. If you were saying, hey, they're
Oh
in,
yeah,
if Jaleel and Audric were in the same range, and you're like, hey, I like Jaleel more, fine, whatever, that's cool. But
but when it's
not,
6 rounds different,
that's not gonna work. I think especially watching DraftKings, he's like I've seen him go in the 130s, and I'm like, that's just
yeah,
crazy, guys. Like, let's all settle down. But his ADP will rise, and then we'll have something where we can be like, look, now you're 50 spots different.
yeah, and you're not always gonna get the guess correctly on the guy. I remember a couple years ago, pre CMC, when we were seeing who would break out, we weren't really
Trace
confident in.
Sermon,
Yeah,
yeah, that
that's
year.
exactly what I was going to bring up because they had Raheem Mostert, and it's like he was dealing with injuries and just never had a full time workload. And so, who was going to be the backup in the last round? Or I mean, we were getting Trey Sermon because he was a 3rd round pick, and he was going the 16th, 17th rounds, and it's like RB2, next man up. And then Elijah Mitchell, who nobody took
Was the
week
guy.
2 on, was just the guy. And then he came up, and he was the 7th round pick. And we were just like, we don't want anything. Are we going to go with Sermon again? Are we going to go with who was the other guy? I forget the time. Tyrion Davis Price.
Yeah, the rookie.
Another guy that they drafted in the 3rd round that busted. But we were just like, late round pick? Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't work out, but it is what it is.
If we would have got if we would have got Elijah Mitchell right, though, it would have been,
You don't have to bat 1,000 with your 20th round picks. You just need to just hit a couple bunts and just hopefully just get some errors in there.
So where do you want to go? Tank Bigsby. I think Audric is actually going to be a guy that's not going to be drafted in most drafts. So what do you think?
I can't. To me, it's CEH or Audric.
Perfect.
Because we're not stacking, and we're
that's
just trying to think of guys that who can, if nobody goes down in front of them, who can still get touches. I think
Audric.
CEH and Audric are the two.
Well, that's the thing. I completely forgot we weren't stacking that one. I actually don't really go Tank Bigsby unless we're stacking.
Exactly.
Completely agree with that. I just wasn't paying attention. But Audric is a guy that we are going to get a lot more than the public on, because we're going to make sure that he's on our team. And Javante's had injuries in the past. I'm not. Y'all are so confident in Jaleel McLaughlin. It's crazy to me. But that's okay. He was an undrafted free agent last year and was not that productive ever. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
That wraps up our draft. We'll let it finish up. Underdog's a little annoying where it makes you leave and then you got to come back and find it.
Yeah. Then I'll show it to everybody.
Yeah, we'll do a recap of our team and then we'll get out of here.
Let's see. And this guy, of course, is going to take all 30 seconds. Come on, K-Crew. Let's see. Our team actually, I mean, it's solid. The only thing that we didn't do, that we recommend doing, is we did not stack Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
But he's a number 2 quarterback.
Which I did a draft today where I got Caleb Williams as my QB1 because he fell to me. Like, it was basically the draft that just I went robust, and he fell to like 118. And by that point, basically everybody but Cole Kmet was gone. I already had 2 tight ends, and I was like QB1. But then I triple stacked Deshaun Watson, and then I think I got Kirk as well. And I already had Pitts, and went ahead and got Mooney, and so I got a double there. And the best of the best doesn't have a stack, but it's the majority of the team is correlated, which is what you want.
So it's not letting me pull it up yet. It's still loading. So we're looking for it. This is the first one we did today with the actual stack between Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. But I don't know why it's not popping up. We didn't do the $7 today. Did we do the $7? Was that what we just did? Nope.
No.
Maybe refresh. Let's try it. Come on, Underdog. Work with me. There's 2 entries. We like to see it. Let's see which one this is. That is the first one, so we'll jump over to that one. So, like we said, we got CJ Stroud, Kirk Cousins again. And then in this one, we get Bijan.
Bijan with Kirk.
A
little bit.
Throw the ball to him. Yeah. Let the man have the ball. Give the man the ball.
It's not completely unstacked.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker, Ramondre, Zeke, Braylon, and Audric. Probably our weakest position, but we get, the hero RB. Then we really did well getting the double stack here with Nico and Stefan. JSN, one of our highest differential guys. Rashid Shaheed, big plays,
Big
baby.
plays.
Josh Palmer, and then two rookies, Xavier Leggett and Malachi Corley. And then we look at our tight end room. You get Travis Kelce, our number 2 tight end right now. Kate Otten and Chiga Konkwu looking for, touchdowns on the bottom down here, and then let Travis eat.
And then again, we on paper it doesn't look that sexy as receivers,
right?
But Carolina, we talked about one of the easiest strength of schedules, right? Could be the number one. Josh Palmer was the most effective non-Keenan Allen receiver for the Chargers the last year and a half.
Right.
He could be the number one. I'm not confident that it's Ladd or even Quentin Johnston. And then Malachi Corley, gadget guy, and then Rashid Shaheed actually outscored Chris Olave in terms of touchdowns last year.
Right.
They're both deep threat guys. It's not like either guy is going to be a 14 touchdown guy. They're going to split it up pretty well.
Underdog is made for guys like Shaheed, because big plays, 2
catches for 70
yards and a touchdown is way more, better than almost 6 for 60, and that's the same basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, the touchdown, 6 for 60. So those are the same basically, and so Shaheed just needs to catch the ball one time and take it to the house, and you're pretty happy. And he does that, I don't know, once every 3 weeks. So I'm gonna take it. But yeah, so let me stop sharing. All right, there we go. We appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us. We love doing these best ball drafts. We're gonna release our best ball intro video pretty soon, and that one will kind of help give an idea of how we think about doing these drafts. Every single time we kind of have this, flow and this idea of how to complete these drafts. We appreciate y'all just, being part of the conversation, being here with us, and we're going to start doing live streams for this stuff. We're going to bring our rankings out for our fantasy football.
This is our heavy content for the next 10 weeks or so. Right in the middle of June. Season doesn't start till the first week of September. So everything, we'll put out predictions videos and non-fantasy videos as well. But this is the cream and the crop of what we're doing. We'll bring up some intro rules. We're pretty much set with that. Now we just got to shoot it. Our rankings are done. Now we just got to shoot that and release those. And then we're going to start live streaming these drafts, like Em said. It's a whole lot of fun. Love talking about it. Never get sick of it. I've done 5 this morning, and it's not even 12 o'clock. That's what we like to do. And we're getting better and better every day. So it's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then of course we'll give everybody our exposures and show them like how and what we think the year should go with. Of course, those exposures change. We have, June exposures versus July exposures are going to be completely different because guys have moved up and down and training camp starts. And then all of a sudden somebody gets injured. And
like Braylon Allen was our 20th round pick every draft for the first 3 weeks. And then he had a buff picture that went out. Now he's a 15th rounder, and we'll get him sometimes like we did here, but we're probably going to get him like 10% of the time now.
Yeah.
Because there's just better options around before, or we won't even need them. So
yeah, Brees also, don't forget, got a little bit injured, so that always scares people.
Yeah,
so
it's June, guys.
Yeah, but we appreciate y'all being here, and we will see y'all next time.
Take care.